The futures markets are so regulated that the CME group controls the price, and I went in detail exactly how the price is controlled. So essentially, for index futures, price is not allowed to move more than 7% from a reference value. So have a look at this video here, and I'll go into detail exactly how you calculate the reference value and how it's all done for index futures. In this video, I'm going to tell you the circuit breaker prices for FX, so currency futures, energy futures, and crypto. So I received a comment from this video asking about crypto. Crypto is slightly different, so I'm going to go into that. But essentially, the price is regulated and controlled for futures, and for index futures, if price were to move more than 7% from the reference value, which I go through in this video, then essentially you are not allowed to trade further than that. So let's say price moves 7% higher than the reference value, you could only place sells at that point. You couldn't place any more buys to go above the 7%. But what if you're a crypto futures trader? What do you do then? So if you go to this website, CME Group Trading Price Limits, you can then understand the price limits for all the assets. So equity index is based off of the volume weighted average price during the last 30 seconds of trading, 3:59:30 to 4 p.m. Okay, that is the weighted average price they use for the 7% up-down limit for index futures. Okay, but what about crypto? Crypto is slightly different. They use dynamic circuit breakers, which means every minute it looks at a 60-minute look back, and if price has moved 10% from that look back time, then the markets are halted for 2 minutes. Okay, so slightly different. It's a dynamic circuit breaker because crypto is a lot more volatile and they allow the volatility. So it looks back the last 60 minutes and it essentially doesn't allow price to move 10% higher or lower than that price. If it does, it's a 2-minute hold. When it comes to currency futures, FX, we have a 4% price limit from the reference price. Okay, so in this case, it's a 4% limit and not a 7% limit as it was for index futures. So you have the Euro futures, you have the pound futures, you have the Aussie dollar futures. Right, so this doesn't apply to CFDs. Okay, CFDs, their price is controlled by the broker, and the broker sets its own price limits, and it's up to their discretion when they hold markets, when they stop you from trading, when they change margin requirements. This is one reason why I don't trade CFDs. I want a consistent set of rules that I can trade from. But if you're trading currency futures, then it's 4% from the price limit. Now, when it comes to energies and metals, the price limits are slightly different. You have the reference price, and then you have a dynamic circuit breaker variant. So instead of using a percentage, they say price is not allowed to move. Let's do crude. Price is not allowed to move more than 610 points from this value here. So this is your reference value, 6,098. Price is not allowed to go 610 higher or lower than that reference value. So it's not a percentage, but it looks like it's roughly 10%. Okay, it's 10% rounded up. So you can use that as a rule of thumb. This may change though, depending upon volatility. So do come back to this occasionally. If we go to metals, again, it's roughly 10%. So if you look at the micro gold, the reference value is 39,837 and the circuit breaker variant is 3,984. So if price moves roughly 10% higher or lower than the reference value, then you have the circuit breaker kick in. Okay, so there's a lot there, but this will help you to understand how to use circuit breakers. If you would then like to use that with Hoppy's Twin Tower trade plan, there's a link to all of Hoppy's book in the description to this video. Just click on his name and then you can see all the books and then buy the one that you need. If you would like to learn exactly how I trade using my golden bullet trading strategy, which I use for index futures, metals, energies, crypto, and currency futures, there's a link to my mentorship below.